Hello and welcome to the fourth lesson on this course, and what we're going to start to do here is to join all these elements so that we can start to work on the leg and make various copies to work on the bottom part here. So to do that, the first thing we need to do is to join all the elements that make up the Boolean into one object. So all these tubes here, these elements, the holes, this part here, not the cylinder, okay? So all these elements are selected, and now we can start to organize this a little bit better. Select the eyes and we'll move them upwards. Then we'll place them underneath these ones that we made here. Okay. Merge down. And now these eyes are all together. The next step is to see what elements make up the Booleans. So this one, this one, this one, this one, these two here, these other two, and this one here. Now take this one and lower it. Then from here, we'll select merge down again. And this way we can join all the elements. To here. Now we have all the elements of the Boolean, as you can see. Here's the leg, the eyes, the Booleans of the shell, the body, and the body itself. So at this point, we'll take these elements and we need to make sure that they're in one polygroup. We'll start working on this because later, when we work on these elements and apply the colour, it will be much easier as we've done this. So with this icon I've placed here, visible group, join the objects into one polygroup. Do the same with this one. Select and apply visible group. You can do the same thing for the eyes that we placed here. And basically the same for all the elements we created, except these Booleans, obviously. In this case, for example, we want these elements on the leg to stand out. So for now, we'll leave the leg with this group of polygroups. Activate the live Boolean again. Let's take a look at this eye. Okay, we'll leave it like that for now. Now select the leg. And we'll go to this Boolean panel right here. Apply the subdivision and select Make Boolean Mesh. So we want to transform this into an object. Click. And it should have been done. Go to Insert. And as you see, we should have the object with the Boolean already in place. You can see that the object is all joined together, but you could still eliminate any part that you didn't want. So with Ctrl-Shift-Alt, you could remove all the area that you don't want. You can also click like this to make these areas disappear. To get rid of it definitively, you could select Hidden and get rid of all this excess. So now we have the leg, and we need to get rid of the parts we don't want. And we have separated, like this one here, for example. Delete. The first leg, the main leg. Delete as well. And the tubes that we don't need, delete. So now our leg is totally functional, with the booleans applied, the elements merged together. What are we going to do with this leg now? We're going to duplicate it in symmetry. As I've explained during the course, we go to Z plugin Mirror. And we want the leg to be an independent leg, not attached to the leg we already have. So we'll choose, in this case, the Z axis. Okay. Select the two legs. Go to Merge. And with this leg selected, merge down to join everything together. Now duplicate it. Go to the top view. Activate the gizmo. And we're going to move these legs. With Shift, we can control the degree of inclination, okay? We could then decide if we want to add more or if we want to leave it at 4. If you're happy with the shape that you have, you just need to join all of them with merge down, as we did before. Then all the legs are joined. Okay, let's leave this part as it is. And now we'll do the same procedure with the booleans that we created for the shell, for the body. So we have this boolean here. That will lower to the level of the other boolean, the spheres that we made for these holes here. So let's select this one, merge down. This way we join the booleans, and we just make everything a little bit easier to organize. As you know, we need to take this object, hide this, and we want to transform this directly. Don't worry if you see this problem here. You can just go to Geometry and start to subdivide the object like this, okay? Go to the Subtool, activate the subdivision, make Boolean. Now, as you know, go to Insert, and insert the body. As you see, we can't see the legs now, because earlier we hid them all, and the other objects we didn't want to see. And we just made a Boolean on the shell, on the body. Select this. Let's see how all the elements are coming along. Let's remove this. Okay. We don't need that anymore. Now we have this object here, and we'll show the geometry. Select this and delete. This eye that's left here, we can use this if we want to make some adjustments. We can do that, no problem. Now we can work from the different polygroups. No problem, we can select polygroups with Ctrl-Alt-Shift, and then patiently go selecting what we don't want to be visible, so we can then apply a polygroup to the eye. Now remove the excess. Go to Polygroup, select Visible, so we transform the eye into one polygroup. And it's easier to work this way. Now we're going to move on to a different process. So select this. What we're going to do is start to add some more detail. We're going to add a sphere that will act as a base, and we can get rid of it later easily. Go to Move, make this smaller. We'll leave it around here. And now we can start to insert some elements. So we'll go to the brush, letter I, and we're going to insert some IMM industrial parts. To make this even easier, we can go straight to Transform, activate Symmetry, and set it to Radial. Choose the symmetry that you want, so in this case Y, then go to Transform and increase the size of the sphere a little bit more. Make it a bit bigger, remove the symmetry. Now observe that when I place the elements, the geometry is created easily. If I select Dynamic Solo, obviously only the sphere appears and the elements that we're creating. So it's like a mask. If we press Ctrl and drag, we can remove the mask. And now to remove the sphere, Ctrl-Shift-Alt, double-click, and we're left with this. Select Hidden to get rid of the sphere. Now if we select for everything to be visible, then you can see that these elements here have been created. Okay, at this stage we can make the most of this type of brush to add even more detail to the model. So press I again, and now we could insert a cylinder. So we'll remove the symmetry with X, and what we're going to do is create a kind of spline. For example, from here to the middle, move it, and it's like a tube. So depending on the diameter of the brush, the tube will be narrower or wider. In this case, we want a narrow tube, so we'll lower the diameter of the brush, and we'll repeat that same procedure. As you can see, now the tube is smaller. I think this is better. Now if we simply move this here, we can modify, we can adjust where the tube goes. If you pull, then the tube also stretches. To work on this, let's join the legs together so it's more comfortable. So let's accommodate this tube in the middle, if we can, like this. Okay, great. So this is enough. Now let's see the legs. But first we'll just click anywhere to remove the spline. Like this. Now we'll add the legs again and duplicate this model with Move. Place the gizmo in the middle. And using Rotate, duplicate, and rotate this. For instance, to about here. Select the eye to see the other tube. And we'll duplicate and just continue like this. Okay, and now the tubes are done. Let's save the model. And as you can see, we've duplicated all the tubes, and each tube has been created individually. We'll just finish off by putting some more objects, another couple of objects on the body, just to give it the last touch, and then we'll finish this lesson. Okay, let's take, in our brushes, IMM, and we'll just place another object. Let's see what we have. We could place around here something like this. Okay, dynamic. So we've joined it with the body. Don't worry about that. Just duplicate the body. Make this invisible. So we Control-Shift-Alt and we click here on Hidden. And we've got this individually, separately. Let's see the mesh. And what happens when we press Dynamic. Okay. Okay, let's make our body visible again. We'll remove the mask. Control-Shift-Alt again. Hidden. And everything is now separate. We can take this tube, we can put it higher up, we can leave it where we want, whatever you'd prefer. Okay, let's prepare everything now so that we can add the color in the last lesson. Just make sure that we have all the elements, all the subtools properly defined. Like I think the body is quite well defined. The tube is as well. Let's take the tube, let's just have a look. We can increase the subdivision slightly to 5. Okay, subtool. And now we can start to join all these elements, all the tubes. So merge down, and we'll go putting them all together. Once they're all together, as we have these screws here with the tubes, we'll duplicate this object. So now we have these two objects duplicated. We'll make all the other objects invisible. So we'll keep the screws for one and the tubes for the other. So to select the screws, let's see, we'll remove all of this. Clicking like this. Okay, Control-Shift-Alt. Okay, when we have everything hidden. And we'll do the same for the other one, for the other element. So we want the tubes here. So we'll select all this. This part too, for the screws. Okay, like this, over here, hidden. Okay, so we have the tubes and the screws separate. We have this eye here, the legs. Okay, let's have a look at the eye. Just to add some more subdivisions. And I think that looks quite good. Okay, so we're going to leave it there for now. In the next lesson, we'll be applying the color and the final touches to the model. I'll see you there.